What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Truth and Basketball with Swipa and Coach George Karl. And y'all, we just got done with the NBA trade deadline at just a couple of hours ago, and here we are right now. Coach Karl, how you doing today? How you feeling?
I'm excited about the NBA. I think the first half of the season, the NBA's had a lot of junk to it. Load management, a lot of blowouts, a lot of bad games, but also some really good young players who are coming on and some really good teams that think they can win a championship that have never been there before. So I've always said after All-Star break, we get serious. Before that is kind of exhibition season. So we got about 25 to 30 games to see who's really ready for the playoffs.
Yeah, the NBA looks a lot different than it did a few hours ago. There's been a lot of moving parts around the league, both in the Western and Eastern Conference. But, Coach, the Denver Nuggets, they just got Thomas Bryant, basically for Davon Reed, who is a rotational player that wasn't getting any minutes. They gave away 3 second-round picks, and they also acquired Thomas Bryant, who was starting center for the Los Angeles Lakers and wasn't getting a lot of time since Anthony Davis came back. Thomas had a few really good games in there where he was giving you about 21 points and 14 rebounds for a little bit. He had some really good offensive streaks, not a great defensive center. And then the Denver Nuggets also got rid of Bones Hyland. There's been a lot of noise around Bones and his role on the team and his kind of fit and also his own happiness with his role, it seems like. So, Coach, what are your general thoughts on the Denver Nuggets acquiring Thomas Bryant?
Well, I was happy with them going after a big guy because the one weakness they have is backup center. And sure, you can choose not to play with a center, but with a backup, you have both options.
Right.
I think DeAndre has been a good locker room guy, but contributing on the court has not been very good. And I like Thomas Bryant as a backup center, as an insurance policy to an injury up front. I think it's the one position I thought was kind of not protected.
Right.
But I think basically Denver didn't need anything. They've shown that they're for real. And I know a lot of other teams have gone around and made big moves, but I still like Denver as my favorite right now. I like them from the standpoint of how they're playing. Jokic is amazing. And Jamal Murray has got to be given a lot of credit because he's playing at a high level.
Right.
I thought it would take him some time, and it hasn't.
Yeah, Coach. So right now, Thomas Bryant on the season is averaging 12 points a game, 7 rebounds a game, has about a 71% true shooting, which is, again, he plays center, always near the basket, but he's efficient near the basket. That's what's important. And he's going to be helping to man that second unit. And right now, Coach, we're kind of still waiting. By the time this episode comes out, you all have probably maybe heard that the Nuggets have acquired somebody else through the buyer's market. But right now, it looks like it's going to be Bruce Brown at your point guard to back up. It's going to be Christian Brown at the 2, Blocko Chanchar at the 3, Zeke Naji at the 4, and then Thomas Bryant at the 5 with the bench. How do you feel about that bench with those collection of players? Do you feel like that is suitable enough for the kind of championship run that the Nuggets want to go
on? I would like to see the bench be a little more experienced together, but I think that's something to be determined in the next 25 to 30 games. They've had good moments this year, but they've also had some bad moments. And to be honest with you, the depth of their team will be tested in the playoffs a little bit. A lot of these guys haven't been there before. So how consistent they'll be will be interesting. And of the guys that you named here, I think Bruce Brown is ready. I don't know I know that I think Malone will go small more than go big. So I think they're going to be okay playing Christian Braun at 4 or even Bruce Braun at 4. When they kind of get a catch-up game or a coming from behind situation. Um, and, I just think Bones, I know a lot of fans wanted to keep Bones, but the way the maturity of this team said Bones was a distraction. Kind of what I got. I mean, I don't have any information that no one else has, but just the way the body language and the words and the way they've been protecting what he says. And I think we knew about 2 weeks ago that he was probably going to get traded, and he did. He's a very talented kid. He's going to have a long career in the NBA. I don't think you got to worry about him, except he's got to learn how to maybe handle his attitude a little more class. But I think talent-wise, he's a very blessed basketball player.
Right. Yeah, that's tough for a lot of people. Bones helped them win Game 4 versus the Golden State Warriors last year in the playoff when he had 3 straight threes, had an incredible third quarter. But I think you're right. I think that maturing takes time and it takes experience. And right now, Bones is young and he doesn't have any experience. And when you're on a team like the Nuggets, where your best player is 27, Aaron Gordon's 27, Murray's 25, and Porter's 24, that timeline is pretty tight. Like these are your core 4. And they're all moving either into their primes or in their primes. So you want to make sure that you're giving them players that helps fit their skill set best. And Bones has been good at times offensively when he's hitting his shots, but coach, as you're very well aware of, he has been very porous defensively more often than not. But when you're a young player, that's to be expected. Learning how to play defense, unless you're Christian Braun or Herb Jones, or even, I don't know if you've seen Josh Green from the Dallas Mavericks, unless you're a bigger profile player and you are walking into the NBA as a defender, it's really difficult to learn those things. And then on top of that, Bones Hyland is watching Jamal Murray and Bruce Brown and Christian Brown and Contavious Caldwell-Pope, and they're all getting major playing time, even ahead of him at times. And so having to reconcile that with that you want to be able to do your own thing and play your own way, that's just a really difficult line to walk. So I hope success for him with the LA Clippers. Right now, they don't have a starting point guard. Might be Terrence Mann, but they're probably going to acquire somebody else. But hopefully Bones is able to really turn that out. But, Coach, everybody wants to get to the big news because the Phoenix Suns landed the whale of all whales. Now, outside of LeBron James, Steph Curry, of that older generation of players, Kevin Durant is one of the greatest players we've ever seen. And they just got him for Mikal Bridges, for Cameron Johnson, 4 unprotected first-round picks, and Jay Crowder. And then the Phoenix Suns acquired Kevin Durant and TJ Warren. Coach, you got Chris Paul, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Torrey Craig, DeAndre Ayton, Landry Shamet, Cameron Payne, and Darius Baisley, who they just acquired from OKC. Coach, how good do you think the Phoenix Suns could be?
I think the move's a little bit of desperation. My feeling was Phoenix was not playing like they played last year. Their record is good, but they don't have the same connection. I don't know if it was the Ayton deal that pissed them off, but Jay Crowder not being there, I have no idea why they don't have the connection they had last year. Their starting lineup is good. Their starting lineup might be better than Denver's starting lineup. But I get a little feeling of desperation. I think it's a new owner kind of wants to make a splash. They call up and ask about, is Durant available? I think Brooklyn put a crazy deal out there, and Phoenix said yes. I think Brooklyn got about as much as you can get for Durant. I mean, 4 ones and another one swap, and you give up 2 good players, maybe 3, but they're not in the class of Kevin Durant. And Booker, Durant, Paul, Aiden, that's pretty good stuff. So I think I look at it as a little desperate, but I think it also could work out to be good.
Mm.
I'm not a big believer that mid-season trades, major trades, work all the time. Putting a team together chemistry-wise, figuring out your offense, camouflaging your defense, hiding your weaknesses. All that stuff takes time. But in general, I think what happened with Dallas and Phoenix and even the Lakers, those three teams in the West got better. There's no question they are better.
So the Lakers acquired D'Angelo Russell, Malik Beasley, Jared Vanderbilt, got rid of Patrick Beverly, added Mo Bamba, and obviously got Rui Hachimura basically like 2 weeks ago. Do you think that the Lakers are going to be a solidified playoff team now?
I don't think they're a top 5 playoff team. No, I think they're going to make the playoffs. I think they're going to play in the play-in game, maybe. I don't think they're going to get much higher than that. I think they're better, but there's going to be games they're going to lose because of load management. And Anthony Davis gives us one of those "what the hell's going on out there" games. I don't think they're out of the woods. I think they did a good job at trade deadline. They've gotten younger. But they also got versatility. If they don't like these guys, they can let them go and have money next summer to spend on free agency.
Coach, so there's a lot of people right now that, especially when the Durant news happened, oh man, the Phoenix Suns are the clear favorite in the Western Conference. Or now the Lakers got shooters. They got Jared Vanderbilt, another paint protector next to Anthony Davis. And a lot of people talk about basketball in a way that's like, okay, well, it's Chris Paul versus Jamal Murray, Devin Booker versus KCP, it's Jokic versus Aiden, it's Kevin Durant versus Aaron Gordon. But people have this really one-on-one idea about basketball. Coach, how is it that even if you have great individual talent, a team that has less talent, still very good talent, but maybe less individual talent, how is it that those teams are often able to beat teams that have better individual talent on it? What is it that makes that happen?
I mean, coaches call it chemistry, connection, leadership, a belief and a trust in the locker room that goes out on the court. You don't know how all these pieces of the puzzle are going to fit right now.
Right.
Everybody's dreaming that they're going to fit great. But just remember, there's probably more trades that fail in its potential than succeed in its potential. They're making a trade because they know they're not good enough now. And they hope they're going to be good enough in the future. But there's no guarantee. They got to go to work. I like the idea of Chris Paul being in Phoenix. I like the idea that LeBron is really good about making good players better and making them come together. But LA's not going to be any good unless Anthony Davis wakes up. Now, a couple of weeks ago, he was playing great ball. But the game he had the other night, I was ready to throw a shoe at him. You know, he's back to being that mopey old Anthony Davis.
Coach, and speaking of that game, LeBron James versus the OKC Thunder officially became the all-time scoring leader in the NBA. Coach, did you have any thoughts about that when you watched it?
You know, my thought was my son was in the same ABCD camp at Adidas camp playing against LeBron when my son weighed about 150 pounds and LeBron was in the same class and weighed 240 pounds. And I look back and remember him. I remember seeing him play for the first time, and I'm going, well, it's a no-brainer. I mean, he's going to be great. But to do what he's done has been impressive. To keep his body like he's kept it, to play at the level he plays at now. I can't say this very loudly, but I'm actually rooting for the Lakers to be a little bit better. I don't want him to be good, but I think the NBA is better when the Lakers have a good basketball team.
Hmm. Coach, with LeBron, did you ever think that somebody would break Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's record?
I really didn't. I don't know if I would wish that on anybody. To play at a high level for 25 years is not what you're going to have to do to break LeBron's record. It's going to be 25 or 30 or 50 years from now, someone might do it. But LeBron was not, I never looked at him as a scorer. I've always looked at him as an efficient guy, makes guys better, makes teams work, connects them very, very well, organizes them very, very well. But, his longevity of not only playing a lot, but not being hurt is pretty amazing if you look back on it.
Mm.
I mean, when it happened, I actually thought really happy for him. I really did.
Yeah. Well, Coach, given that he's averaging 27 points a game in his career, and he is now the all-time leading scorer, do you think LeBron is one of the 3 best scorers in NBA history?
I just don't look at him as a scorer as much as I mean, Will averaged 50 a game, so he's got to be one of the all-time great scorers. And guys like, Michael Jordan scored at such a high level of efficiency. I was with George Gervin. I was amazed that Gervin averaged close to 30 points a game, and he shot over 50%. How many scorers in the NBA shoot over 50% now?
Mm.
So there's some great guys in the past. I don't look at LeBron as a scorer, so I'd probably say I give that to other people. But I'll tell you this: I still think I think Michael's the GOAT. But I want you to know, the most talented player maybe to ever play the game might be LeBron.
Hmm. And what do you think makes him the most talented player ever?
What is his weakness? I mean, his weakness is making free throws and 3-point shots. And he still does that okay. He doesn't do it bad. He just doesn't have that great shot. But he'll make a 3 when it counts. He'll make a free throw when it counts now, most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
But the other parts of the game are so much. I mean, he's a great rebounder, a great passer. He plays offense efficiently. He has great IQ. He was an all defensive player for most of his career. Knows team concepts. And he's probably the perfect size. I mean, 6'9", 250, 260. That's probably what we're going to get here in the next. We're going to start having a few of those guys. 6'7", 6'8", 6'9", athletic, don't have a position, can play anywhere.
Mm. Wow. Yeah, that was a momentous moment for the NBA as a whole. And obviously, congratulations to LeBron James for the all-time leading scorer ever. But Coach, with the Nuggets, now with this Durant news, the Lakers making these adjustments, the Clippers making numerous adjustments, do you think that the Denver Nuggets have what it takes as currently constructed to be able to make it to the finals out of the West this year?
Swipa, we're in summer talk right now. It doesn't really matter what I think. What I think right now is they are a contender to win the NBA championship. In my mind, they're playing the best basketball they've played all year, and it doesn't look like it's going to change. I think they've built this foundation of confidence that they've never had before. And they have a lot of contributors. They have a superstar that is selfless and cares about triple doubles much more than he cares about numbers. They got a bench that has to be proven, but I like the possibilities.
Mm.
I know everybody liked Bones. I probably like Christian Brown better. Personally, the role that he is going to play, Christian might be a better player than Bones.
Mm.
Bones got screwed a little bit because of the roster composition, because this team doesn't need another offensive player. It needs a guy that knows who he is. It needs a guy that's going to be tough-minded and defensive-minded. They need a guy that's going to win things by doing the little things of basketball. And Bones wants to score, and he's good at it. And it's probably someday might be the next Jamal Crawford. That's how good he is. He's very, very talented. But, he's caught in that situation where he doesn't get enough minutes. He does not get enough love, doesn't get enough shots. And his attitude was showing.
Hmm.
And I think the Nuggets made the right choice. That if this is their opportunity to win an NBA championship, you can't tolerate what Bones was bringing in the locker room.
Wow. Yeah, I agree, Coach. You mentioned Jamal a little earlier. Since Jamal's been back, the last 30 games, I think Jamal's averaged almost like 23, 7, and 5. His efficiency has been outrageous. Michael Porter Jr. has been playing really well. How do you feel about the other kind of two stars and how they've been playing over the last couple of months during this run from Michael Porter Jr. and from Jamal Murray?
You can't be, the additions of Bruce Brown and Pope are almost perfect.
Yeah.
They fit. They fit big time. And actually, with a point, I think they motivated Michael Porter Jr. Michael Porter Jr.'s got to play to stay on the court. That's how good these two guys are. And you didn't bring up Aaron Gordon, who's having probably the best year of his career.
Absolutely.
But they have a way. They have a nice flow to where it kind of doesn't matter who gets hot.
Mm.
And there's not a lot of bad body language. There's not a lot of, I think their shot selection's getting better. But I think, again, I've been that team. It's been the best team in February. You want to be the best team come in June and May.
Right.
And these next 20-some games, you're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to have a lot of fun watching some really good basketball.
Mm. Well, Coach, as you even just look out into the rest of the NBA, is there anybody in the Eastern Conference that has really spoke to you that you feel like is a true contender with Will, that you feel most confident in? Is it the Celtics? Is it the 76ers? Is it the Bucks? Or is it all three of those teams, or even a team outside of that?
I think Boston and Milwaukee are head and shoulders above everybody else. Cleveland's not ready. I kind of like the Philadelphia pickup in McDaniels, I think it is.
Yeah, Jalen from Charlotte.
But I think I like Jay Crowder in Milwaukee even more.
Yeah.
I think that's a good pickup. I actually have more confidence in little pickups like that take a really good team and make it tougher rather than the spectacular trade.
Yeah. Like
we have in Dallas and LA and Phoenix. I think that little things like that really turn out to be good. The West is, it's crazy. Denver could win 60 games and play the LA Lakers in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
They win 60 games, play the Phoenix Suns in the first round. They win 60 games and play Dallas in the first round. The odds are they probably will play one of those guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got Durant, then the Warriors. Obviously, Steph Curry's going to be out for maybe the next month, if not a bit longer. But they just got Gary Payton II back. They traded James Wiseman, who obviously is a very young player for them that hadn't developed. They got Gary Payton back, Jonathan Kuminga. They got Jordan Poole, Dante DiVincenzo. And then obviously they got their guys, Andrew Wiggins and Draymond and Clay and Kevon Looney. And then again, the Suns made an incredible addition. And I didn't ask you about this. How do you feel about Kyrie being a Dallas Maverick playing next to Luka Doncic now?
Swipa, I'm tired of talking about Kyrie Irving, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I think he bothers all of us a little bit. Sometimes I feel that he's confused with what he says. But I'm going to tell you, he's playing damn good basketball right now. I didn't think he was very good last night, and they beat the Clippers pretty easily.
Mm-hmm.
The man can play. The man has offensive skills that very, very few players have in our game today. He's becoming a really good three-point shooter off the dribble, kind of like Steph. And that great player right now is the guy that can shoot the three off the dribble.
Mm.
That's the kind of the type of player that's blowing up right now in the NBA. Most coaches think that shot's a bad shot, but more and more of them are making enough to shoot him.
Mm.
So,
yeah.
I don't know. It's going to be fun. The first round is going to have more probably upsets than maybe ever before. Even in the East, I think there could be some upsets. I don't know who Philly would play, but I think Philly's beatable if they finish third.
I think right now they're on track to play the Miami Heat with Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo.
Well, I think Philly and Cleveland, I think, will finish third and fourth.
Hmm.
And I think both of them are vulnerable.
What is it about Philly, Coach? Because Philly they have James Harden, they got Joel Embiid, they got PJ Tucker, and DeAnthony Melton, and Tobias Harris, and they got Tyreke Maxey, and they got Doc Rivers, who won a championship in obviously 2008. He is one of the winningest coaches in NBA history. What is it about them that maybe people have a hesitancy about?
Do you like watching them play? It just doesn't seem like they're having fun out there. It seems like too much dribbling. Embiid is a tremendous player, but he doesn't do things that Jokic does. He doesn't make guys better. He just puts a big number up about every week. And I think they're gonna. Don't get me wrong. They could beat Boston. They could upset maybe Milwaukee. But I don't see it in their personality and their mental makeup as much as I see. I actually think Cleveland's going to be a really good team very quickly, but I just think they're too young this year, even though they might be the best defensive team in the East.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Coach. We're gonna see. There's a lot of different things to find out, especially in the East. The Celtics just lost Jaylen Brown, which really sucks because he's having a career year. He got hit in the face the other night. He's going to be out for at least a few weeks, it looks like. He's going to miss the All-Star game as well. So we got Durant missing the All-Star game, Jaylen missing the All-Star game, Zion's missing the All-Star game, and then Steph, I think, is missing the All-Star game. So they're all going to need replacements.
They haven't announced them yet, have they?
There's like the starters and the players?
The replacements.
No, they haven't announced the replacements yet. And I think right now, to replace Steph, I think the favorite is De'Aaron Fox. And then to replace Kevin Durant, I'm not really sure who it would be right now. It might be Anthony Davis, maybe, because they might get him in if he's able to play. But there's people lobbying for Aaron Gordon. I don't know if Aaron Gordon can actually have an opportunity to get in, though.
That's a tough one.
Yeah. Yeah, so, we'll see. There's a lot of stuff happening around the NBA, but Coach, and again, you've been very right on Jokic, since I first started hearing you talk about him. And, you even started the year off speculating about the MVP stuff. Coach, here we are. The Denver Nuggets are 35-12 with Jokic playing. Coach, he's averaging 25, 11, and 10 on 70% true shooting as the number one seed in the Western Conference. And right now, he's a prohibited favorite to win MVP. Did you ever see this coming like this? And do you think that, one, did you ever see this coming in this way? Did you ever think he could average a triple-double like this? 3, do you think he's going to win his 3rd MVP? And yeah, it just seems incredible right now.
I say yes to all 3. Did I see it coming? No. But early in the year, I saw Jokic kind of studying the game. And now the way they use him as a point guard, and more possessions every month, we're using him more and more as the point guard. It's taken away from his paint presence, but it's making everybody else play the game the right way. So that if he averages a triple-double, he keeps playing like he's playing, and the Nuggets win 55 to 60 games, I don't think there's anybody in basketball can say Jokic is not the MVP. And if you study the game, it's not even close. You watch Jokic play, even when they played each other, and Embiid had a great game. But who would you want after that game? I still would have taken Jokic. It's just it's how he plays that makes everybody play the game the right way.
Yeah, and Coach, honestly, I think there's been a growing acceptance of him as a player, but like I said, there's still a lot of hesitation to maybe dub him as the best player in the NBA. But I think it's the defense. What do you think? What do you think?
Who's a great defensive player? Giannis? Will we give Giannis that? I just love the guy because he makes the game so easy to play. And he plays it in slow motion. And he cares about everybody else except himself. I love him. And right now, I think he's got a space between him and the next guy.
Wow.
I think he's got to play poorly to lose it. Or average to lose it.
Yeah, and again, that seems to be among the voters. It seems to be that's what the corner that's been turned is. Can you make an argument for anyone else above what he is doing and what he's been this year? And that's been the hard part. And so Tatum has played incredible, Coach. He's averaging basically 30 on good efficiency. Embiid's averaging 34, 10, and 4 on 64% true shooting. Giannis is averaging like 32, 12, and 6. I mean, there's incredible players right now, but again, I've never in my lifetime thought I would ever see a player do this. Even in the month of February, Coach, or in January, last 15 games, they're 13-2. He's averaging like 23, 12, and 12. You know, like.
Well, he's not. I think he's fucking with the game. I think right now he's going, okay, I'm going to get 5 triple-doubles in the first half of the next 5 games. I mean, you got triple-double at half. And that's, for a center to do that, it's unbelievable. The way the game is evolving, with your best player having the ball all the time,
yeah,
I didn't think that was going to work. But with Jokic, it's working. You know, I still want Denver to have a point guard because I don't think they have really a point guard other than Ish. But Jokic is so good, he'll figure it out. LeBron is so good, he'll figure it out.
Yeah, so and that's another question, and I think what's so good about being able to talk to you about this, these are questions NBA Twitter has, but they need experts like you to answer these things. Why is it so much more difficult for a center to accomplish what Jokic is doing as opposed to maybe Russell Westbrook when he did it in 2016?
He doesn't touch the ball enough on the perimeter where there's a lot of good decisions to be made. But the way Malone has kind of flopped his offense to Jokic in the transition, and he's getting a lot of touches and a lot of decisions. The hardest one for a center would be 10 assists. I mean, he's going to get 10 rebounds and 10 points, and he can play with one arm and get that. But the way they're using him on the floor, really as a point guard, has really been I think a quiet adjustment by Malone that Jokic has really gotten into, and it's really doing well right now.
Mm.
I think you're going to see games where he's going to get 20 assists.
Yeah, his career high is 18 versus the Houston Rockets in December of 2020. And he had 16 the other night versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think he had 16 versus the Warriors, too. This is all dumb, Coach. He has 9 triple-doubles, and that's the last 11 games. I think 15 in the last 20.
And they're playing great basketball.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could blame it if they weren't winning, but they're winning easy. They're playing great.
19-0 when he has a triple-double this season.
He's good. We can move on from that. We know that.
Well, Coach, there's, like I said, there's a lot we're going to get to. I think the trade deadline conversation was really good. I think that's really important to have, not just for the Nuggets, but for the Western Conference as a whole and how that works. And then in the East, we touched on some things as well. I also think that the Milwaukee Bucks being able to run Drew Holiday with Grayson Allen, then having Chris Middleton, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Brook Lopez, and then having Javon Carter, Pat Connaughton, with Joe Ingles and Jay Crowder with Bobby Portis, Coach, I think that's going to be an exceptional 10-man unit. And I think right now they'd be my favorite to come out of the East.
I think it's Jay Crowder. But the one thing about him is I don't know how they are statistically defensively. They've been more good, bad defensively in my mind. They've been good at times, but they've also been bad at times. They have a good personality going in the right direction. But, there's going to be some discomfort coming here in the playoffs. I'm going to want to see how everybody responds to that before we pick a guy for sure.
Yeah.
Boston has so much talent. I think Boston and the Clippers are the two teams that have talent. I don't trust the Clippers, but someone tell me to pick the Final Four of the Western Conference. I picked the Clippers. And they made some interesting trades.
Right.
I mean, I don't know how Bones fits out there, but they do need some more offense.
Well, Coach, who we have not talked about? The Memphis Grizzlies. Do you have any insight on them? Like, do you like them? Like, are you over kind of the talking and then all the other stuff? How do you feel about the Grizzlies?
They can't shoot right now. They can't make shots. I saw a stat on one of their games, the last couple games, where I think they're 29th in the last 10 games. I don't know why Steven Adams' injury has made them lose games, but I didn't think Steven Adams was that good. But ever since he's been hurt, they have been winning. They're not making shots. Their shot selection is a little bad on the bad side at times. And their macho is we're tough SOBs and we're the junkyard dogs of the NBA. They're not that type of team. They act that way sometimes. Sometimes they play that way. But the good teams in the league aren't afraid of Memphis's grit.
Right.
They're not like the old Memphis teams. When the old days with Lionel Hollins and those guys were tough.
Even the Big Zoe, Tony Allen era, that grit and grind era,
and Marcus Sol, and they were a very good defensive team.
Right. Well, Coach, this has been great. We covered a lot of different bases and talked about a lot of different things. So this has been a really good episode, and I'm really excited to see how the next 30 games shape the rest of the NBA as we get ready for the playoffs. So we're going into the All-Star break as well. So this is going to be really fun.
The regular season's beginning in about 2 weeks.
Well, I can't wait. Y'all, make sure y'all hit that subscribe button. Follow Truth in Basketball. Follow Coach George Karl on social media as well, where you can get all of his spicy takes that he has and follow everything that he's doing. And y'all, we are continuing to make great content. Hit the subscribe button, and we will see y'all soon.